I'll say, let me show you in just about 6 words why your country is the most extraordinary, exceptional, and different than any that's ever been. And I would go up and I would write on the board just 6 words. I'd write God, G-O-D, really big at the top. I go halfway down the board and I write king, lowercase k. I drew a bunch of arrows down and I write the people / the subjects. I step back and I look at that and I say, now what you're looking at here is sort of a graphic depiction of the philosophy called the divine right of kings. And it comes from, it's an old European medieval notion. Most of the great nations you've studied subscribe to some form of this. They believe basically that there was a higher power, but the king, the earthly king, is the sovereign. The king is the one that can tell you what property you can hold, what rights you have, sometimes who you can marry, how many kids you have, what you're going to do for a living. The king is the boss. And then that's why the arrows come down and they see the people / the subjects. Now in 1776, these guys came along and they didn't buy that, right? Because you know what? They were students of Scripture. Of the 56 signers of the Declaration, many of them had seminary degrees. They were all students of our Judeo-Christian heritage and our Scripture, and they understood that that did not line up with the truth there. And so G.K. Chesterton was the famous British philosopher and statesman, and he summarized one time, he said, America is the only nation in the world that was founded upon a creed. He says this with almost theological lucidity or clarity in the Declaration of Independence. It's like a statement of faith. What is the creed? Second paragraph of the Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident. By the way, in the first draft, Jefferson had written it, we hold these truths to be sacred and inviolate. And Benjamin Franklin said, that's too wordy, let's just go with self-evident. Okay, so fine, we hold these truths to be self-evident, but when I'm explaining this to college students, I say, hold on, what is a self-evident truth? And make them think through that. And ultimately, they'll conclude it's something that's obvious. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and I always stop and I say, wait a minute, it doesn't say born equal, it says created equal. This very intentional wording. We hold these truths to be self-evident, all men are created equal. We're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among those the rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Now, what's so revolutionary, bold, even crazy about that, the reason it sparked the American Revolution and set us on course to be this great country is because no country had ever done that before. They defied this idea of the earthly king. When I have a whiteboard, I get the eraser and I go up and I erase king, erase all the arrows that went down from king to the people and the subjects, erase the word to subjects. I back up. All that's left now on the board is God and the people. And then I draw all the arrows down from God to the people. And I say, that is a very simple explanation. What made your country different than all the ones before?